Hello everybody, I'm Justin.
And I'm Nick.
And we are
Fans Football in the Zone.
So now that Week 12 is almost through, let's talk about tonight's game. The San Francisco 49ers are going up against the Washington Redskins. And who's the guy you're looking forward to see this week?
I'm looking forward to seeing how RG3 is going to fare without all his weapons.
Kaepernick or RG3 tonight?
Kaepernick, definitely. He has a nice matchup.
Now Frank Gore versus Alfred Morris I want to talk about. Alfred Morris, he has a tough matchup tonight, but I like him going forward. But I want to talk about Frank Gore. I like him more than Alfred Morris tonight because it's just the matchup he has. It's great. It's a great matchup, and he didn't have a great week last week, and I expect him to have a bounce back against a terrible run defense against the Washington Redskins, and I expect him to be a high end 2 tonight, low end 1. And now let's get to the recap, and it all started with the Thursday night game. The Saints defeated the Falcons 17-13, and we already said how we felt about Matt Ryan going forward, that we didn't like him going forward, and maybe look at, if you had him as your top quarterback, look to somebody.
You need to look at other options.
Like Mike Lennon or somebody.
Let's move on. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Detroit Lions 24-21. And how do you feel about Bobby Rainey? Only 35 yards.
I said in my start sits that I really didn't like him this week. I didn't like him going up against the front four of the Detroit Lions with Sue and Faley there and a couple other guys. But when he went off against the Atlanta Falcons. They've been pretty bad against the run, but I like Bobby Rainey going forward. I think he could be a nice flex option for you, but don't expect big numbers like he did against Atlanta Falcons, because 9 out of 10 times he's not going to do that. Now I want to talk about the tie that we haven't seen since all of this season.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings tied the Packers 26-26, and what do you think? Was Mike McCarthy announced that it's slim to none chance that Aaron Rodgers plays Thursday night against the Lions. So what do you think about Matt Flynn, because he entered the game against Tulsi? And do you think he has any value this week?
I don't think he has any value till he proves himself.
He is playing Detroit Lions, and you're going to have to throw the ball a lot, but I really don't trust him. I think there's better options. And what about Toby Gerhardt, because he had a pretty big game against them, but you also have AP there.
Yeah, I don't think he could be a flex option. The Jacksonville Jaguars in their second win, defeated the Texans 13-6.
Next game?
The San Diego Chargers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 41-38. And Keenan Allen, I don't think anybody expected him to do anything, but he went off against a tough
defense. Even Danny Woodhead had 2 touchdowns. Ryan Matthews had 1 touchdown. And you don't expect these kind of numbers versus Kansas City, because they've been pretty good defensively. But Keenan Allen had a great game, like you said. Phillip Rivers had one of the biggest quarterback days this week. He had 392 yards, 3 touchdowns. And we both seen the 2 running backs in San Diego do good, but of course you expected those big numbers from Jamal Charles. Now, next game is the Carolina Panthers defeated the Miami Dolphins in a close game. But what about Cam Newton? He only had 174 yards and 1 touchdown, but Mike Wallace had a huge game, 127 yards and 1 touchdown as well, and we really didn't expect this
against
from the Panthers defense.
I think he could be a little bit more of a consistent 3 than he was in the past going forward into the future.
And what about Cam Newton? Do you think he's still a number 1 for your roster?
I think he is a number 1, not a top-end 1, a mid-end 1.
But he does have a tough matchup coming up against the playoffs. But if you ride it with him this far, I think you're going to have to ride with him going forward. And I think
the trade deadline already passed in your league, probably. The next game, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cleveland Browns 27-11. And how do you feel about Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown, we didn't really like him going up against Joe Hayden, but he pulled it off 2 weeks in a row, 92 yards and 1 touchdown. I was wrong with him this week. I said to sit him in my start sits. My bad, but Antonio Brown, he did have a big game going up against Joe Hayden, and you normally do not see that.
And how about Josh Gordon? 237 yards.
And 1 touchdown. Brandon Weeden, I thought was going to affect his value, but then again, he's just a deep ball. He's a deep ball threat, and he catches a big one, you're set for the game, and that's what he really is. He had couple big passes, and going forward, I think he's a high end 2. What about you?
Yeah, I think he could be a borderline 1 depending on the matchup, but a high end 2.
The next game, St. Louis Rams defeated the Chicago Bears. And what about Matt Forte getting 0 touchdowns?
Matt Forte, I think he'll be continuously a low-end one, a mid-end one, although he didn't have any touchdowns because he's evolved in the passing game.
And what about Cunningham? He had 109 yards and 1 touchdown. Do you think he could be a nice pickup going?
I don't think
because Zach Stacy got hurt and he was the replacement.
I don't think he has any value because I hear reports that Zach Stacy will be returning.
And Jared Cook, he had 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Since the tight end position is so hard right now, do you think he has any value?
He could be a low-end 1, high-end 2.
I think you might have to look at him because of how hard the tight end position it really is.
The next game is the Baltimore Ravens defeated the New York Jets 19-3. And how do you feel about Joe Flacco in the future? What do you think his value is?
I really don't trust him in 1 quarterback leagues. I like him more in the 2 quarterback leagues. Even then, he's really so inconsistent. So I think he's just a matchup-based starter. And Geno Smith, I really don't think he has any value. He's too inconsistent, 0 touchdowns, and
he throws a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, I don't think he has any value. The Tennessee Titans defeated the Oakland Rams 23-19. And
you mean the Oakland Raiders?
The Oakland Raiders, excuse me. But what about Justin Hunter? He had 109 yards and 1 touchdown. Do you think he has any value going forward with Ryan Fitzpatrick on the
I don't think he has much value there. I think the top guy
is Kendall Wright.
And I think he actually is playing like a low end 2 on PPR.
What about Mac McGloin? He's been doing really good the couple times he became the starter, but he had 260 yards and 1 touchdown. I really don't trust him because I think Terrell Pryor will come back soon.
I'm not starting him in a 2 quarterback league until he proves himself another game. Next game, the
Cardinals defeated the Indianapolis Colts 40-11, and that was an upset. It was a blowout in that game. And Andrew Luck only had 163 yards and 1 touchdown. And he hasn't been playing great in a couple weeks in a row.
I think he's still a 1 because although he only had 163 yards, he still had around 50.
Even Carson Palmer, I think he could be a nice waiver wire pickup. 2 touchdowns, 314 yards. The Cowboys defeated the New York Giants 24-21. And that game, Victor Cruz again really didn't do anything. He only had like 20 yards, 40 yards or something like that. And then another fantasy matchup we liked was Denver Broncos. The New England Patriots defeated the Denver Broncos 34-31. Jacob Tamme had a touchdown. Julian Edelman threw a lot of targets and 2 touchdowns.
Moreno 200.
And Peyton Manning didn't really have a big game as we expected, but I like Tom Brady. I liked Tom Brady a lot, and this was his bounce back that we were looking for. And really, no Denver Broncos wide receiver did anything major.
Yeah,
including Wes Welker, Eric Decker, and Demaryius Thomas. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at FfInTheZone, and comment.